You're watching the Fantasy Football Show news. No suspension for Tyreek Hill. He will miss 0 games. Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show. If you want to own Tyreek Hill in 2019, be prepared to pay potentially first-round value, at least top of the second type value. How quickly things change in fantasy football. Where would I draft Tyreek Hill? Well, I think these guys got to go first. Hopkins, Adams, Thomas, Odell. Then from there, whether it's Julio, Mike Evans, Tyreek Hill, AB, you can't really go wrong. All those guys are fantastic. But this is great news because it injects another top 12 to 14 overall player into the draft board on draft day. I'm not going to get into whether Hill deserves to be suspended or not. That is for a different discussion. It is shocking that the NFL is overlooking so many things that in the past it hasn't. Much of it is related to Goodell not trying to ruffle feathers in negotiations and whatnot. But Tyreek Hill is back in terms of fantasy football. Probably the most asked question I get is, Smitty, is he out of the woods for sure this time? No one's out of the woods. If anybody finds any kind of evidence whatsoever, it doesn't matter what the authorities do or whether someone's charged. The NFL, at any moment, if they don't like the way you've conducted yourself, doesn't matter. This isn't double jeopardy where you can't be convicted of the same crime twice. They can do whatever they want when they want. So is Hill out of the woods? Probably for now, but don't assume that when a player's out of the woods, they're out of the woods indefinitely. Any new information that could surface in the future will bring this back up, but I think for now, it's safe to say that this thing has been put to bed. Tyreek Hill is back in the top 15 overall. You can argue him at 7, 8, 9 overall. I think he belongs around 5, 6, or 7 for wide receivers. Definitely below these 4. Maybe Evans goes above him. Maybe Julio. And then you're talking about, I think, Tyreek Hill, and that's a good spot for him. This is great news for Pat Mahomes. Even if Hill was out 4 games, I had Mahomes pegged for 45 TDs in 2019. But now this locks him back into probably throwing 45 TDs and maybe running for 4 or 5. Maybe he reaches 50 total. Don't believe in a Pat Mahomes repeat? That's fine. Drive his value down lower for me. I appreciate it. LeSean McCoy to get cut? That's not exactly what the rumors are saying right now, but the rumors are saying his roster spot is not locked in. And let me say this one time. Let me say this a couple times. You guys know me. I could beat this like a dead horse if I wanted to. Maybe I will. Devin Singletary has top 8 to 12 running back upside if getting starter touches in Buffalo. If you want a breakout running back to stash on your bench because he might not get unleashed until midseason, Devin Singletary, call him small, call him what you want, can stop on a dime as good as anybody already in the NFL right now. He has that kind of quicks and elusiveness. Is he the fastest guy off the line? No, but many running backs that have the quickness that he has can survive and be elite. Not just good, elite. Now, don't draft him with the expectation that he's going to be elite. The whole point here is to get him late and have a potential home run type running back stashed on your bench with the other running backs that I continue to talk about. Samuels, Benny Snell together, Darrell Henderson, Damian Harris. Add Devin Singletary to the list and you have a plethora of running backs that you can groom and evolve, and one of them's probably going to pop, if not 2 of them, in 2019. More to come on McCoy and Singletary, so stay tuned. I'm sure we'll hear a lot as we head into August. Phillip, Lindsay, the wrist is good to go. There's been a lot of talk about how Freeman's going to be the starter or Freeman's taking over first team reps. They're giving Lindsay a break and to heal up. It's a wrist, not a knee. I'm not concerned about Lindsay's health for 2019. He's atop the depth chart. They may split more carries than Lindsay owners are comfortable with. But Lindsay's got first crack at that job. He's still got a chip on his shoulder. And he still could play like a top 10 to 14 overall running back in 2019. Grab Freeman and Lindsay together as a handcuff if you do want to draft Lindsay in 2019. But Lindsay, with all the Freeman talk, has been falling into the 5th, sometimes top of the 6th round, which is crazy. You're talking about amazing value for Phillip Lindsay at 5th round value. Peyton Barber, the starter, we don't know the answer to that yet. There's a lot of talk today that Peyton Barber is going to get his share of starter opportunities. The job is his to lose. Then last week we heard that Ronald Jones has been the rave. Everybody's been talking about him. We don't know. The bottom line here is there probably will be a productive running back in this offense. I think Ronald Jones is probably the better bet. Peyton Barber might get a shot. I'm not saying that either one of them won't succeed, but I'm certainly not really banking on either one of them. If Ronald Jones is a good value, and I'm talking a total bench running back, not your flex, but a bench running back, I'd take a chance on him. But it sounds like these two guys are going to cost more than I think I'm willing to pay. So I kind of find myself staying away from the situation in general. Now, if one of their values drops significantly because the other one has a lot of buzz, I may invest, as I said, in a really late value. Tip of the week. David Montgomery, I predict, is going to look so good, the hype train will gain so much momentum, that this guy is going to cost you a top 15 to 25 overall pick in redraft leagues by mid-August. And the crazy part is, I think he'll easily be worth that value. Now, I can't preface enough, his ADP is not in the second round yet. Take advantage of that while you can. I am not suggesting you go out and grab him any higher than you have to. Every draft pick you make, you should maximize your value. Take a guy as late as ADP will allow you to take him. David Montgomery has a ton of upside. He still has ceiling value from that 15 to 25 range if you end up having to take him there in August. One of my favorite strategies in 2019 is to go, especially in an auction, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver in terms of your dollars you're spending, or if in a snake draft you can trade up for multiple picks near that second round range. I like going Odell, Mike Thomas, and Evans. All three of these wide receivers have top 5 potential upside, but they all three tend to fall to the top of the second. They fall outside of the value of those top 3 or 4 wide receivers, so they're a little bit less expensive. So in an auction specifically, you can grab all three, still grab David Montgomery as your running back 1, which in a situation where you're spreading all your value out, you might be uncomfortable making Montgomery your number 1 running back. But in this scenario where you almost go 0 running back, Montgomery is probably the best running back you can find to be your running back 1 in an almost 0 running back approach. Then, even with this team, you have enough money to probably buy yourself an Aaron Rodgers or a Baker Mayfield, maybe even an Njoku at tight end. Tell me this team right here, if you add in a Baker or an A-Rod, isn't going to potentially win you your league right out of the gate in 2019. If you also deploy my stash running back approach, where you have the Samuels, the Damian Harris, the Darrell Henderson, the Devin Singletary, if you have those types of running backs stashed waiting to fill your running back 2 spot, if one of those players lands, game over. That's my tip of the week, David Montgomery, especially as it applies to an auction draft, or if you're trading up and grabbing 3 of those big gun wide receivers. Subscribe, follow, get ready for more news. As it unfolds, I will break it to you via the Fantasy Football Show news show. Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.